Hello, everyone. I have been spending some time alone today, and in doing so, I've noticed this trend and bizarre narrative that has been going around for the last while around suffering and why people must choose suffering in order to be better prepared or not need to handle the suffering that life gives them when it does. This is a completely old, over masculine paradigm that seems to be playing itself out. And that doesn't mean just for men, that means men and women. People outdoing themselves, trying to go harder, further, make themselves colder, climb higher, in order to intentionally choose suffering, with the narrative and intention behind it that if you choose your suffering, then you don't have to deal with suffering when life gives it to you, or you are better prepared biologically for suffering when it arrives. I want to tell you that there is a different way. You can completely let that go, because the people who are telling you to suffer in order not to suffer are the people I'm telling you who are suffering on some level. If you are intentionally making yourself suffer by seeing how hard you can go, that's suffering. And life is difficult enough as it is already. Life is a giant journey of suffering, which has moments of more happiness, peace, presence. But very often, life is giving you exactly what you need in order for the expansion of your consciousness to take place. Another way to say that is for you to become more self-aware. So what I want to share with you today is all people actually need is a good dose of peace and to discover themselves on deeper levels. Don't go out there and try and suffer, rather be peaceful. And if you struggle to be peaceful, well, then that is where your work lies. If somebody tells you you need to suffer, get out there and make yourself suffer, they need to heal that part of themselves. Because the people in this world who you might see on social media, on famous podcasts, who are the ones who are suffering and doing all these extreme things, the truth is their ego enjoys the attention and validation they get for suffering. If that's not twisted, then I don't know what is. Just do you. Go about your life as peacefully as you possibly can, knowing that there are going to be moments that life hands you suffering, and it's not you that suffers in terms of the truth of who you are. What I mean is awareness doesn't suffer. What is awareness? Awareness is what's hearing my words and my voice right now. Awareness is what's seeing me on the cell phone screen or computer screen. Awareness is what you are. Now there's physical suffering, which is pain. So if the body is going through pain, it's the body's alert system telling you that something's not good, because it's built in and designed to make you survive and keep you alive. But outside of physical suffering, the only suffering which can take place is mental suffering. And mental suffering happens on the level of the ego identity. It happens to who you're not. So you might be going through challenges in life because you have a lack of self-worth, because you have worry about the future, because you have regrets about the past. But when you are totally present, meaning you are not identified with any of these things that are being offered to you, there's no suffering in the present moment. I'm not saying you won't suffer. You will suffer, and this suffering is grace. This suffering is an opportunity to come back to yourself. The silent, still presence of awareness, and not to get caught up in the ego's kicking and screaming match, which is just a non-acceptance of what is. And I don't want to have to go on about this too long, but please don't join this trend where you must choose some extreme task or achievement where suffering is involved, or you cold plunge longer than the next person, because that is a sure way to actually suffer, and it's not going to help you avoid the mental suffering which your ego will need to face in order to bring you closer to the truth of who you really are. Be aware, be peaceful, and do life as peacefully and as kind as you possibly know how.